Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do that all-important comic book review so you, the fans, can make a decision on what comic books to buy. And today, guys, we're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 6, and it's an all-new story, everybody. All new, all different story, and it is called The Dark Kingdom Starts Now. And clearly the cover kind of gives away what goes on in the story because you know who the enemy is right from the start, because you get to see Spider-Man fighting Mr. Negative. So Mr. Negative makes his return here. This series is written by Dan Slott, and usually the artist on this book is Giuseppe Comicoli. However, it's a new artist I have never seen on the Amazing Spider-Man title before, called Matteo Buffagini. I don't know how to say that, but the artwork is much darker in this issue than what we used to be, and it's probably done on purpose because we have, yes, Mr. Negative on here. At times, the art is really well done, as you get to see a cloak and dagger in this issue that's influenced by Mr. Negative. And however, even though maybe body structures are good and some of the coloring is nice and it fits the tone of the book, however, when it comes to Spider-Man being drawn, or Peter Parker for that matter, I felt that Peter was way off. You couldn't even tell who he was. He's expressionless, and he's got like this weird hair, and I don't know if this is a printer error, but there's like these blotches on his face. It's even over here as well. I don't know if that's supposed to be bruises. Like, I'm not sure what's going on there. So the artwork for me was kind of a miss at times because, again, Peter Parker just looks too old. He almost looks like a James Bond-like character. So I wasn't very fond on this art. However, when it is Spider-Man, he was okay. Alright, so what did I think of this actual story? Well, the story actually opens up on some kind of ship. A Stronghold 1, Department of Justice prison transport. And so what happens is you have these guards that are holding this man prisoner. And that man is Mr. Negative. And all of a sudden you see Cloak and Dagger make their appearance with his clan there. And we get to see Cloak, who wears white, and Dagger wears dark. So they're opposites because of the, I guess, Mr. Negative effect that's on them based off of this drug that he's been, I guess, sending out or having influence on others or whatever. So basically what happens is Cloak and Dagger comes, they release Mr. Negative, he goes from his normal form, they give him the drug, he becomes Mr. Negative again, and he's like, oh, I'm back. And so he's back in action. Peter Parker is in China, and he's hanging out with, I guess, a coworker, which looks like it's more of a relationship, as they're having some kind of lunch on the top of his building. This is supposed to be his engineer that improves the Spider-Mobile. He gets called for an important visitor. They take a tour of Parker Industries. There's some kind of people attacking the city. He goes out, he becomes Spider-Man. He makes some Miley Cyrus references where he's singing Wrecking Ball, and by the time you wind up getting to the end of it, Cloak and Dagger wind up going into Peter Parker Industries. He's doing battle against Cloak and Dagger, which last time I remember, I don't think they know that he's Peter Parker. Like, oh, I don't know Parker to be so nimble. So when is Parker going to do these acrobatics, in front of him, not disguised? And then, of course, the last thing you see is Cloak winds up releasing Mr. Negative, and it looks like Mr. Negative is under his effect. What did I think about this issue? I didn't like it. I really didn't. In the second story arc, I was expecting more. We got left cliffhanged with all these super villains that was leading into something else, and then now you get this whole Mr. Negative story. We're not sure how long it's going to last. We get this fill-in artist, which I think wasn't, it doesn't fit who Peter Parker is. And while reading this book, I didn't feel a connection to the characters in the book. If it wasn't for Mr. Negative, I wouldn't have really felt that this was a Spider-Man book or Cloak and Dagger, because they have teamed up with Spider-Man before. But anybody else around Spider-Man, there was no supporting cast, and even Peter himself didn't feel himself because he didn't look like Peter Parker. The only thing that made it somewhat relative to a Spider-Man comic was some of the dialogue that was going on in the book when he was being humorous. Otherwise, besides that, again, it didn't feel like a Spider-Man book. And the cliffhanger wasn't anything to be really desirable for here. So this was kind of a letdown for me because I was expecting something completely different from this story. Moving on from the Zodiac Gang, getting into who the mystery villain was at the end of each issue in the first story arc, and seeing what the major outcome of that is. Now, this could be a filler story until Giuseppe Comicoli comes back, and then we'll get that story. But for me, this was a complete miss. I really didn't enjoy it at all. It was just boring. I could care less about this tour that was going on. I gave this one a 2.75 out of 5 stars. This might be my worst pick of the week. Just something that I don't expect out of a Spider-Man book. The worst one so far out of all the Amazing Spider-Man books, and I've enjoyed this series overall. So, guys, tell me in the comments below what you thought of the Amazing Spider-Man number 6. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you a fan of Mr. Negative, so are you pumped for this? Are you a fan of Cloak and Dagger? So, guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Don't forget to check out my brand new old school, or Comic Book Corner old school channel where I review classic comic books, and you can check out my group channel called Comic Frontline. So again, fans, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0, and this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.